Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Don't see what's yours for the taking tonight. Ooh, show me your soul, baby. I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Can't you see it's way past time? How expensive do I have to be? I mean, I spell it out before you get it, baby. Show me your soul, and honey, I'll show you. I'll show you.
Good morning, Gumshoes. Remember her? Do you remember her? I do. Her eye was so huge, and she'd be looking around. It was her. Remember her, the black lady? Good morning, Gumshoes. And then the romper room lady, right? And would you believe, when I was a freshman in college, the guy that lived across the hall from me, his mom was the romper room lady. He had a whole poster on the door with her looking through that thing. And I asked him, can you get your mom on the phone? Because I want to find out why, after 4 years of watching Romper Room when I was a little tad of a pole, I would sit there. Did you? Waiting for her to say my name. She never did. Not once. And it was that. And when we were on vacation, the license plate turnstile, you know, the little license plates with your names on it when you're a kid, never had my name. But guess what? This screen does. Well, if I can get, let me see. There it is. So how are you? I don't know where that all came from. Lord have mercy. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'll tell you where it came from. I had to go in the basement and pull this out the other day because Tim Chrisman, who you guys are going to meet in a couple of weeks, is going to be here on the show. His business card, I met him at the Star Trek convention. His business card. Okay, do you see those numbers underneath his name? Right? I was like, good. And then it was getting worse and worse. And so I had to go and get this thing out. And I was like, well, I should have this out here anyway. Yeah, the aging process. But you know what? It doesn't matter because every day above ground is a great day. Can I get an amen? Yes, indeedy. I am so excited to be here with you all. Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Lauren Michaels Harris, and as I always tell you, I wouldn't rather be anywhere in the universe except perhaps Fiji. I'm manifesting. That's all that is. Than here with you guys. So here we are. The Bella Purpose is here doing its thing. The brand new 20-pound. I'm not kidding, y'all. Okay. There it is, the brand new and improved Bella Purpose that I got for my birthday on the 4th of July. So we kind of upgraded from this to that, right? So the Bella Purpose is not just a show prop. It is actually a reminder that when you hear the bell, something wonderful is in the air. There's a spirit in the air. There is something in the middle of the road that just because it's lying there doesn't mean it's roadkill. Back up the car, take it with you. You might want to use it later for some soul fill, which is our theme this year, this season. Show me your soul and I'll show you mine. Why? Because it all boils down to transparency. It all boils down to being authentic and being comfortable enough with each other to share and pour into each other and be open to being poured into. And that's what's going to happen today. Right now, I want you guys to do yourselves, as well as everyone you love, a favor and share this broadcast out. Invite some people. Why? You remember that show, since we're going back in the day with Romper Room and all that? Do you remember a show called Kung Fu? Remember that? David Carradine, I believe. And they always had flashbacks where he had his little guru. He'd say, snatch the pebble from my hand. The guru is here today. And I'm Black David Carradine. Just kidding. But anyway, Harrison Klein, that's how I look at him. You know, in life when we cross paths with people, right? Excuse me. And oftentimes we have that connection, that synergy. And if we were garments, we could look at the tags back here and go, oh, you and I came from the same factory. Well, sometimes you cross paths with people and you check those same tags and you find out not only are you from the same factory, but you were actually hewn from the same bolt of cloth. And that's how I feel about Harrison. Nothing comes out of his mouth that I don't have to do a complete walk around from top to bottom, bottom to top, side to side, side to side, corner to corner, and corner to corner, because he puts stuff out there. And what I love about this man is that when he lays some truth out there, which is consistently, he doesn't make it easy. He puts it out there for those who are seeking. Because in order for you to really get it, you got to really want it. And when you really get it, you have to really mean it. And I mean what you're going to do with it. If we don't do things that we mean, well, they can never become things that are meaningful for the rest of the world. So I learn from him all the time, and I'm so honored that he's here today. I want to share something with you real quick to give you an example so you'll know what I'm talking about. This morning, I constantly watch what he posts. This morning, hold on. My family, they keep messaging me. Now they're going to be on the screen. Get off the screen, family. Okay. Sorry, just got back from the gym. And Brian, my husband, you guys, send light and love, some prayers. He's dealing with a horrible, what do you call that? Sinus infection. And anyway, thank you for that. Look at what's on the screen. Now just look at that. I had to read it, I think 3 times. 2 of them straight down, 1 going backwards. That's my process. Look at this. You're either silent, isolated, independent, and potent. Now he threw that potent in there. And I was like, I wonder what that means. On the path of sensitivity, or you're visible, independent, and admired on the trail of impact. When on a different path than the rest of the herd, either way, it takes courage. You know, so right there, you see what I'm saying? Stuff that make you go, what did Arsenio used to say back in the day? Things that make you go, That's what I love about it. That's what I love about Harrison. He always helps me to think my way to the next slab of sidewalk on my journey. And that is priceless, my friends. Bell coming in 3, 2, 1. There it is. So I'm not going to waste any more time, you guys. Put your hearts into today. Put your hearts into the conversation. Be proactive, interactive, share it out, ask questions, speak your mind. This is a guy where you can really, really glean some things that I guarantee you they will change your life if you do the right thing by them. So here he comes, you guys. Welcome to the stage, my friend and yours. I am Harrison Klein. Hi, Harrison. How are you?
So, Grasshopper, I am great.
Good. I just turned up the thing. I had to move my sound effects machine out of the way because I did not want to accidentally hit it because those are all flatulation sounds. And right. I never do that to you. I'm seriously. So
I like body humor.
yeah. I'm so happy you're here. Welcome back to Bathrobe Moments. How have you been?
I have been terrific, amazing, phenomenal, outstanding, incredible, awesome, turned on, tuned up, tweaked, authentic, resplendent, opulent, fun, enjoying myself, inspired, all those wonderful things. And I keep just going like the romper room kids.
You really do. You really do. Tell everybody where you're at in the world. And when, that's your moniker. I am Harrison Klein. So why don't you give them an idea exactly who Harrison Klein is?
Oh, Harrison Klein. All right. Well, I am, I help people awaken to their inner assets, to their soul level, and that's what your show is all about. I help people awaken to their soul level so that they can use the information, the experience, and the life force to become anything they want or to get anything they want. You know, Life is completely about purpose. Life is completely about meaning, and as you were introducing and all those things, the best way to access those things is through the awakening of the soul, through the awakening of the consciousness, if you will, that moves the world. Because there is no out there; there's only in here. So when you understand that principle that we get what we are, not what we want, and that there's no out there, there's only in here, man, that changes everything. Gives you a perspective that is unbelievable.
It really, really does. I want to get your take on this. I say this too, mainly my coaching clients. What in the world? What was that? Did you hear that?
Yeah, that was my phone.
Oh, you have to put her. You need to put her on airplane mode.
It is on silent, but
Because we know the world is calling Harrison Klein, and we won't get a word in edgewise if we don't mute that thing. So listen, I always say to my coaching clients, I find that I work with them, we work together, and then it's inevitable. They always reach this sector, if you will, where I go right up to the edge, and it's like this invisible wall stops me, and I know what it means, and I try to explain it to them by saying, this decision or this move or whatever it is that is on the other side of that line, and they're in there with it, and I can see them in there with it, and they're like, "Aren't you coming?" And I go, "I can't." And I try to explain to them that there are certain things along our journey that I believe personally that only our soul DNA is allowed to be on it. No one else, just because it's your thing. It is there. Can you kind of shed some light on what it is I'm attempting to say there?
there is a signature experience of the self. We live in two dimensions really all the time. One is our individual self, which is one dimension, and the other one is we share that individual self with infinity. So we live with infinity and we live with the individual self simultaneously. As we merge or as we find the infinity to our individual self, or the individual self in infinity, we experience ourselves as transcendent, which means we have a perspective beyond the senses. We experience.
Did you just call me transgender? I got a shirt on. And if you are, be proud of who you are. There.
That's
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Go ahead. I couldn't pass that one up.
That's it was wonderful. So, so if we are able to awaken that process and that beingness within ourselves, where we release the self into the infinite self, we take time out of the equation. We become eternal. We are viscerally eternal. We understand what eternity means, and it's not just a concept; it's a experience and a feeling, and it goes beyond the point of awareness which we are in a body. So
Hmm.
from this we become this weightless, amazing being that has perception beyond the senses. And some of it can be psychic, but some of it is just the ability to be present, 100% present, and that is full-time alertness. Whether you are in the moment or not in the moment or contemplating the past or the future, but you're still full-time alert. And that's
Hmm.
a wonderful thing. So, I know that you are. So, I mean, it's obvious. So it's very clear.
It is.
Yeah. So we have this spaciousness about us. When we have a spaciousness about us, we have the knowledge of a bigger self than just the identification of what we are and what we have. So
I agree. I agree. Now, what I find really, truly interesting about you, and have from the very beginning of our experience together thus far, is that you blend the world of spiritualism with the world of science.
I do.
That's exactly, and you're the only person I know that gets away with it, because that's a hard oil and water kind of mix for a lot of people as far as processing. Can you talk a little bit about how you must have some humdinger of a KitchenAid mixer inside yourself because you do so well at blending it all together. Tell us why that's so important to you, and it's a two-part question, which I'm well known for multiple questions at once. Did you begin in a fundamentalist or a traditional religious background? A lot of us who have grown into spiritualism started back there in that box. But I don't know if that was your situation or not. How did it begin for you, and how did you get to where you are with this mixture of science and spiritualism?
Well, okay, so in terms of where I started, yes, my parents were Holocaust survivors, so they endured every kind of torturous, heinous experience that man's cruelty can perpetrate on another man. So, um, the experience was nothing short of severing the soul, if you will, and severing
Right,
the body.
right.
So that was part of their experience. So I was born into that, and I inherited the fears and the survival mechanisms of all that. Yes, they were religious at the beginning of my life, up until about the age of 4. They were 4 or 5. They were basically, quite Orthodox Jewish, and that because it's about rules and it's about particular behavior. Western religion is about behavior. Eastern religion is about consciousness. So consciousness and transformation. So the process became one in which, as I was growing, I was completely kind of immersed and overwhelmed by the rules of what my behavior should be. And that was never authentic because it wasn't what my internal, kind of meter told me to experience or told me to do. So I was always trying to, adjust myself or to comply myself to what I believed was a bigger thing.
Hmm.
What happened was is in my 20s I had a mystical experience. So I was very unhappy. I was autistic for 23 years of my life. It was very difficult to experience, a lot of pain, twice attempted suicide, and I was in very significant inability to be in this world. I just had too much turmoil within me. And then at a certain point, I had a mystical experience. That mystical experience opened up everything that existed inside of me. It released it like the Big Bang. And I was traveling through the universe, and it was just a whole new consciousness. When I came back into my body, I was no longer the same human being that I was prior to that. Now, the experience of that release of all that pain, all that energy, all that suffering that I had carried within me for about 25 years just basically dissolved. And suddenly I was full of flow, or the ability to be in the moment, present, with a singular focus, with an ability to have a singular focus. And in that singular focus, now I became a different human being. I had no ego because the ego had been burned off, and I had a different experience of life, a perspective that was energetic, and as opposed to one that dealt with events.
Okay,
So,
okay, wait, because I don't know about y'all out there, but I've never heard anyone, no one has ever said to me face to face, "Oh, Lauren, I had a mystical experience." So I'm in another screen right now, and I'm looking at the literal dictionary definition of mystical experience. And it says relating to mystics or religious mysticism, inspiring a sense of spiritual mystery, awe, and fascination. And there's also a little side note here that says mysticism, where is it? The experience of mystical union or direct communion with ultimate reality reported by mystics, the belief that direct knowledge of God, spiritual truth, or ultimate reality can be attained through subjective experience, such as intuition or insight. And mysticism is popularly known as becoming one with God or the absolute, but it may refer to any kind of ecstasy or altered state of consciousness which is given a religious or spiritual meaning. So, having thrown that out there, let's back the car up just to where you said you were at 20, you were 22 years old. So you wake up that day, one version of yourself, not knowing that you will never wake up that guy again. So what happened? Can you take us through the day? I had breakfast, I took a shower, I went for a run, and all of a sudden I was floating above the Empire State Building. How did it happen? How did it happen? What did it feel like?
well, okay. So the story is quite dramatic. It's like when you have a mystical experience, it, the feeling is one in which you are standing still at one point, and suddenly a 200 mile per hour bullet train passes you by. You grab onto the rail and you hold on for dear life because that's how much energy comes into you. So it just is explosive. So I'm sitting. So at that point I was in art school. I was a young artist trying to make it in the gallery world. I was very unhappy, and some months I made the rent, some months I didn't. So I was just selling painting. I refused to work for anybody else. I refused to do that, and if it was going to kill me, I was going to make it in the art world. So I had already been very, very unhappy, twice suicidal, and one evening I'm sitting in my overstuffed chair in Cleveland, Ohio, doing a little sketch in my lap of actually the room right across from me, sort of doing a still life of that room. And in the process of all that, I don't know what happened. Suddenly, I was just without warning yanked out of my consciousness was yanked out of my body, and I went spinning into the universe in a tube of white light. And I'm going at the speed of a velocity of what I consider at least the speed of light, or better. I mean, clouds coming at me, patterns coming at me, things coming at me, and going through this enormous amount of space at a very, very incredible velocity. And so, next thing I know, I'm hearing angels in the background, unearthly music, something that I never could have even imagined, and that I've never heard on Earth since.
Mm.
And I'm going through this. I'm watching planets birth and die. I'm watching galaxies spin. I'm experiencing this release of whatever it was. And when I come back into my body, I'm no longer the same human being that I was. So I come back with a thud, and that thud is I'm back in my chair, but I'm not the same human being. Whatever it was that I became in that experience, I had energy which I didn't have before. I had perception which I didn't have before. I could hear things, like I'd say 20 yards away that I couldn't hear across a table the day before. The moment before. I had vision that was energetic, so I could see the pulsations of colors. They were very.
Mhm.
My taste was so enhanced that that food was a whole new experience for me, and I was pretty good. I was pretty good with food before that,
Okay.
but food was a whole new experience for me.
Mm.
I was just a different human being, and I was totally alert in the moment. There was no separation between me and anything else. So in that experience, basically, I understood that everything is coming from me. This is the same experience that Jesus has. So I and the Father are one. So when that happens, you and the Father become one. You understand that everything comes from you. Nothing happens to you. It's all something that's going on inside of you that's a reflection out there of what you are thinking. So
Through me, not from me.
that's right,
Through me.
exactly. And so that process became where my body seemed weightless, but my mind was very, very intense. So
Okay. Oh, that okay, you just explained what happened to me in Iowa.
okay,
Seriously, I wrote it down because I wanted to I was like, this sounds similar. It happened to me when I during COVID. I went to the Ozarks with my yearly buddy trip with my Air Force buddy, and he has 700 acres in Iowa, rolling hills of I think soybean and corn. So he told me, Lauren, go up on that knoll on that hill tonight at around 10 p.m. Take the golf cart up there. The dog will go with you. Kill the engine, turn the lights off, and just sit there for a second. And I'm thinking, okay, and I did, and then my eyes adjusted, and what felt like out of nowhere, millions of fireflies as far as the eye could see. And I was like, and then suddenly
love it.
I felt and heard like a zip line coming out of the back of me, like at the base of my neck and spine. And
Yeah,
I was like a person who jumped out of an airplane. You know,
right.
those jumps and the person, you're on that person's back that's taking you. But
Yeah,
it was like I could hear the coil and it dropped me right down above all those fireflies. And I kind of did this number. And now I feel like I'm in one of those chambers where they practice for astronauts and stuff. And I
yeah,
was like, what is this? And
exactly.
I heard, but not with my ears. I heard like it's different. It was an absorption of
Yeah,
everything: sound, taste, smell,
right.
feeling, all of the senses at once. And it said, this, Lauren, is the oneness.
Wow, cool.
And
That's the same thing. Yeah,
right. And I woke up, or I guess when you said landed back in your body, when I came back in, I'm like crying, and the dog is sitting there licking my tears. And I was so happy to see another human thing or life force. He wasn't human, he was a dog, but he felt human. It was that kind of a connection. It was
yeah,
almost like we could talk for that brief second when I returned. And I was like, oh my God. I said, oh my God, I'm so glad you're here. And he was like almost talking to me, like, I know, wasn't that awesome? It
yes,
was just incredible. And ever since that day, I now, before I could sense the other side of the veil, now I can actually see at times. I don't like, oh, look, the other side of the veil. It's not like that.
right.
But when it's something I need to see, it's there,
Yeah,
like through a window. It's just incredible.
yeah. You're able to perceive, multiple layers of whatever is happening in the moment. So you're able to perceive when somebody talks, you're able to perceive their energy, you're able to perceive their body language, you're able to perceive their congruence in their voice, you're able to perceive a zillion different things in the higher state of consciousness, and you are completely alert to everything that's 360 around you. So
Yes.
you're not just looking at somebody and having a conversation. You are getting enormous amounts of information simultaneously with the
Yes.
in the interaction. Yes. So it's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
So with that, am I able now to actually say to people that I have experienced a mystical experience?
Yeah, absolutely. That is a mystical
It
experience.
really is. And
Yeah.
and like you said, seeing that stuff, and you guys have heard me say many times, the day I met my husband Brian, when he was I was guiding him into up to the house I was living in, and because he had to park a couple blocks away, and I was too busy looking at this light around him, and he's like, "What are you looking at?" I was like, "There's this light around you," and that was the day I said, "You know what? I'm pursuing you. I've never seen anybody walk up to me with a light glowing around them.
That's
And right. So, Harrison, do you believe there are those of us who are moving about our day to day business, experiencing many, MINI, mystical experiences, but we just don't realize it?
yes. There's. I think everybody is not only capable of it, but everybody has that within them. It's a matter of accessing that. It's a matter of cognition, of knowing, a little bit about who you are. So I mean, really being perceptive about the what your relationship is to everything. That's
Hmm.
the thing. And then the second thing is that as you explore the inner uh, um, connection between you and other things, you either move up or down the consciousness scale. So
Mm,
so when you are in exuberant emotions, you are able to experience things much more fluidly and at the same time much more vividly. When you are in a vent perspective, that is, when somebody does something and you react negatively to their event, you drop your consciousness. So we all have this, and we all have to just be aware of what is happening within us. As we become aware of what happens within us, we awaken to the sensitivity of everything. We awaken to that connection between us and everybody else. There's many ways to go about that, and part of what I posted this morning is that path, basically. You can go there through the path of sensitivity, which is where you become isolated. And so when you are isolated, you are focused internally. Carl Jung said, "He who focuses outside achieves, he who focuses inside awakens." So,
mm.
so when you come to the awakening space, it's much greater than the achievement space, because the achievement space is an external experience, which is a false experience anyway. The internal experience is the only real experience.
That's the difference between when the angel of abundance helped me cut the bindings off of her.
Yeah.
And that's what she told me. When I was doing things externally, I was manifesting money. I was manifesting a car, one
Yeah.
thing at a time.
Right.
Now I am manifesting from the inside abundance.
Yes.
So
Right.
I don't have to this this this
Yeah. One at a time. Right.
just abundance. And you have more of everything. And that does also mean more challenges, more sleepless nights, more everything.
Yeah.
Do you think, how do you feel? So somebody out there is probably thinking this. You guys put your questions in. We're gonna get to your questions today for sure with Harrison. But what about a situation like a deja vu? What do you believe that is? Is that a mystical experience? How do you perceive that?
No, deja vu is just your higher consciousness telling you you've been there before. So understand that the source consciousness, which you are connected to at all times, but you need to access it by awakening. So source consciousness, when you have a what we call a deja vu, basically is kind of giving you an intuitive nudge to come back to balance. That's what deja vus are. So deja vus are come to the balance, come back to balance. You have experienced this before, recognize it and find the balance of this. Your intuition, the thing we call intuition, is the higher consciousness whispering to us about, whether when we're on one side too far, or the other side too far, of the positive or the negative of what our experiences are as the true self. So, the purpose of intuition is to bring you back to balance. And the purpose of deja vu is also to recognize that you're a little bit out of balance for something that's a experience that you have already had. So,
Mm. Awesome. Now we're going to take a 1 minute break, and just a 1 minute break. But when we return, and Harrison, I'm going to throw this one in so you can kind of mull it around before we come back. Behind you is Albert Einstein. And we all know that, there's something he believed as far as how he came to the answer for E equals MC squared, the theory of relativity. And I want to know how you feel about, do you or do you not? Do you believe that there are such things as mistakes? We're going to get the answer to that from Harrison KLEIN when we return and get to your questions for Harrison KLEIN as well. We'll be back in 1 minute. Share the broadcast out and don't you dare go away. We'll be right back.
Except I received this insight about a title called Prisoner of War. The book.
Okay, welcome back to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. Before we bring back the guru himself, Sensei KLEIN Harrison, I wanted to tell you guys, if you want to do yourself a favor as far as your health and wellness, try this. V8. Oops, V8. Here's the great thing about it. Easy to find. It's in the juice aisle of your local grocer. 60 calories per can, 2 full servings of vegetables in every can, 100% vegetable juice from concentrate. So ditch the Diet Coke, the monster drinks, the power drinks, and grab yourself a V8. Don't do like they used to do back in the day on the commercial saying, oops, I could have had a V8. Get one today at your local grocer. So, okay. Welcome back, Guru. How are you? So did you think about that question about mistakes?
I did. Yes. Thank you. Well, very simply, I believe that the universe is in perfection. I believe that source is perfection. And I believe that perfection has many levels. But I believe that if you believe that, there is such a thing as perfection and that source or God is perfection or mysticism or whatever you want to call it is perfection, how could there be a mistake? Because you and it are one and the same. So there are no mistakes. There's only aspects of, the learning process. So everything that is dark that has happened to us has a positive purpose on the other side of it. So
it's never about just one thing.
Never about one thing, and it's never about suffering. Suffering is a misperception. All suffering is a misperception. It doesn't matter what it is. If you're depressed, if you're angry, if you're frustrated, it's a misperception of what's going on. So when we come into but sometimes we have to misperceive in order to perceive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because we live in a planet of duality where there's right and wrong, up and down, left and right, et cetera, good and evil, all that kind of stuff. But sometimes we have to know what we don't want in order to find out what we do want. So and there are no mistakes. So the things that are the dark parts that we go through sometimes are for the purpose of finding that place inside of us that is going to be shed the light for us. They say that to raise a skyscraper, the foundation has to be equally as far down in the earth as the height of the skyscraper. So when you have your dark moments, understand that is the prelude to a much bigger experience that comes out of the other side of that. And if you resist it, you stay in it longer. But if you allow it to be, you experience the reversal of that and the ultimate joy and the ultimate success of whatever that thing is that you're struggling with. So that's not a mistake. It's a way to learn.
Right. I say that too. I believe that there are missteps, but I don't necessarily believe that there are mistakes because it's never about just one thing. Now, here's the one for you. Mysticism. just the term itself. A lot of people, when they hear that, they think of Merlin the magician, a magic wand, a spell of some sort. But why is that? First of all,
Well, the core of mysticism comes from the word mystery, right? So the universe is a mystery. So we will never ever get to the bottom of what life is because the universe keeps retreating from us. No matter how deep we go, there's always more. No matter how far out we go, there's always more. So it's a mystery. So there's always something to discover, uncover, and to, reframe. So as we go down the path of discovery, basically we become more knowledgeable, we become much more effective, we become much more connected, and we become much more brilliant. Our IQs go up dramatically, which has now been proven through not only intelligence quotients, but emotional quotients, emotional intelligence as well. So, all of science, what we were talking about before, the purpose of science is to prove, spirit. So the quantum field, which is the strongest level of science that humanity has uncovered at this particular point, is all about the behavior of spirit. So we've discovered through the scientific principles that there's no such thing as empty space. It's not empty. It's full of intelligence and energy, and all that intelligence and energy allows us to have things like cell phones from a satellite that's 300 miles above the Earth, but sending signals to 20 million people at a time and knowing exactly what you're saying, what you're doing, and all that. So the science of things is about what is in the invisible, and the purpose of science is to prove spirit. So when we come into the understanding of what spirit is, we understand that all things are related to this energy and intelligence, and really, when it comes down to it, it's sort of an infinite intimacy, if you will.
mm-hmm.
That's the beauty of the whole thing.
An
So,
intimate intimacy, and
infinite intimacy.
an infinite
Intimacy, yeah.
That's a tongue twister. Infinite intimacy. Infinite intimacy. Okay, got it. So what about when we speak to our soul, or speak of our soul, when you look in the mirror or you close your eyes and you're saying what I consider a body scan or a body inventory when I'm tapping in, where does Harrison, where do you feel your soul resides?
I'm just a point of awareness in a universe that resides within me. So the soul is not in my body. My body is in my soul.
Ah, let that sink in for a minute, y'all, because I know I'm like, what the hell? Right. Okay. So your soul is not in your body. Your body is in your soul.
Yes, right. This is only a small portion. This body that you see is only a small portion of everything that exists. And
So what you're saying is the soul is bigger than this experience known as journey.
oh yeah, not only bigger, but it's infinite. So in other words, who's to say that it's not millions of miles out? Your soul could be millions of miles big. The body portion is just a small experience in a chunk of time, a slice of time. But the soul is an infinite, eternal experience, and it is huger than space. So, and there's one soul, but we all have different, locations in that soul that we play with. So, for this 70 years or 80 years, as long as I'm going to be here, or 100 years, as long as I'm going to be here,
Okay.
this is just a stop along the way, but
Right.
I experience my eternalness, my infiniteness. I can viscerally experience that without my body. I embody the experience of that, but I can viscerally also feel eternity within me. I am absolutely sure of the fact that I exist throughout many, many lifetimes and so on, and I can see that, feel that, and access it.
So do you feel that spirit and soul are one and the same?
Yes and no. Well, so yes, spirit and soul are one and the same. I believe that to be true, but I also believe we have an individual process of um, kind of experience. It's a process. So I don't believe that God is a being. I believe it's a process of life. It's a life force. That's a process. So yeah, so yes, soul and spirit are the same thing. It is the animation of all experience. So and I don't know how to explain that any better than that because
Right.
it's
Well,
immeasurable and unlanguageable.
in this universe of mine, I know when I'm referring to when it's just me and what is greater than, and we're discussing or working with my spirit. To me, I see it's like I see Jimmy Olsen, but when it's the soul part, it's Clark Kent. You know what I mean? Right. They work together, but one
Right,
knows a little bit more than the other one.
right.
It's like my spirit feeds everything of me, in me, and around me feeds directly from my soul.
Yeah,
It's like the breaker box.
yeah.
Hmm, hmm.
It's what we decide to energize at any given moment.
Now, outside of journey experience, is do you feel through your scientific lens, is there a way, you know how we can do personal development and help our mind? They say we use 10% of our mind. In my master class, I say I was so happy the day they said that in fourth grade. We only use 10% of your mind. I was like, good, because I'm gonna need a whole lot more. And so, how is that? Is the same kind of thing with spirit? I mean, with soul. Is it possible? Because we all hear that the job of the soul is to grow and to just keep advancing.
Yeah.
Okay, so how is there anything we can do in our day-to-day world that pours into the growth of our soul? Now, I think those things that are integrity-based principles, all those things, but what do you say?
Yes. Well, everything we do that we experience or that we decide is the authentic us, that we come to the understanding of the authentic us is an evolution. But we're always in evolution. So we're always in this spiral. We're either going up or down in the spiral. And the spiral is making us stronger, wiser, smarter, more able, or it's taking us into constriction. It's making us shrink, 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 shrink. Shrink our consciousness, shrink our experience, shrink our connections, shrink all kinds of things. We're either going one direction or the other. There is no in between. There's no state of just stasis. So, so we're always moving in one direction or another. So the spiral of that movement, doesn't always go in a straight line. It kind of goes like the stock market, up and down, up and down. But the trajectory is always, greater than the trajectory is always up. So it's a matter of how we utilize our energy and how we um, what we decide we want to experience in this particular journey. So we all come here with a particular purpose. We have two purposes that are given to us, which one is joy and the other one is expansion. How we do that is our own choice. So is our own free will. But everybody has these two purposes, joy and expansion. If we don't tap into those two things, basically we go the other direction, we shrink. So, so so the purpose of all that is to find this place of joy, find this place of happiness, find this place of expansion. And if we can do that, then we are in unison with source energy, and source energy just brings us closer and closer and closer to it. You know, we also have the right to deny source energy, which is what a lot of people do basically, and that's when they come into the pain and the suffering and all those kinds of things. That is the denial of who we truly are. So,
You know,
so
people often say, "Oh, how do you know? Oh, I feel it in my soul." Okay, a lot of gospel songs speak to the soul. Um, R&B music, soul. Let me ask, and then I remember when I saw the movie The Titanic for the first time, and the bodies were floating out in the water, and I didn't know the nautical term for that was. They didn't say 50 people died or however many. They said 50 souls
yeah.
with that, and that always stuck with me. So let me ask, do you have conversations with your soul?
Oh yeah, never
How
stops.
does that sound to you? Does it sound like Harrison thinking? Is it a feeling? What is it for you?
It is a voice, and it is a It is intuition as well, but it's also a voice. I can talk directly to it, and it talks directly to me. It gives me instructions, and I can ask it questions or for guidance or whatever the case may be. Sometimes it comes through information that's external, like, I'm passing by a newspaper and a headline is directly, related to something I've been thinking about and doing. Or I open up a book randomly and it's a passage about something that I'm experiencing right now. Or I have an intuition about something, don't go here, or don't do this, or whatever the case may be. And, or we have a direct conversation. And I say, okay, well, what do I need to do to, complete this part of the journey or whatever? And then one of the things it says sometimes is tell no one of this experience. So
That's happened to me.
yes, it happens to everybody who has an awakening. So
And that's why I said there's things I try to tell people. Well, there's certain things that no one else's DNA is supposed to touch. And that's, I say that based on when I was told, don't tell anyone about this experience. Exactly. Oh my goodness. Here is a big question from a viewer, and it's watching from one of the outside platforms. So I'm sorry, viewer, I don't know who you are, but if you want to type that in, we'll acknowledge you. Says, I like this. I believe that when our thoughts go back and start connecting the dots to one's past memories, good or bad, that there may be instances where professional help is needed to balance the cognitive to help prevent escalation of potential chemical imbalances that can totally offset one's ability to respond rationally and then build on the positives. What's your take? And clearly, this is not one of my close friends because this person is way too smart to be hanging with me. Just what do you think about this one?
well, this is a question related to mental health, obviously. So the issue here is that uh, do we access our mental health through memories, through the faculties of our mind? We have five faculties of mind, which are, we actually have six, but we have five faculties that are predominant, which are taste, touch, smell, sight, and auditory. So those are the faculties of our mind. Now, we can access information through those senses, but we can also access information beyond the senses. So that is what the soul purpose is. The soul doesn't reside inside the body resides inside the soul, and then the soul gives us information. So in the cognitive place, when you are depressed or you need some kind of, elevation of some sort, using therapy or using other people, that is just part of your path or somebody's path that goes that direction. They need to have an authority figure of some sort to help them come through the process. We don't need an authority figure to do that. We can do that all on our own, but it requires desire, knowledge, and intensity of will. So as we move through this, usually for people who are experiencing things as mental difficulties, whether that be psychosis, bipolar, whatever the case may be, so, depression, those people may need some direct help through this process. And sometimes we have shrunk to the point of where we feel this futility or hopelessness, and then we need a little help to get us through. But the truth is, all healing is self-healing. So what happens is, assume as we assume that we're getting better, we do get better. So intent is the most powerful thing that you can have. So as you assume
Mm,
getting better, you get better. Sometimes it takes an outside person or some reflection out there
no,
to help to tell you that you're getting better,
correct.
to help direct to that. So
Right. Did you
yeah,
see this question from Sherry?
let's
She
see.
says, Harrison, I had whales come through a video I was recording for a card reading from a recovery group just yesterday. Have you ever talked to the animals?
Yes, I talk to animals all the time, but it's a rather interesting experience. That experience for me is visceral. I mean, it's in the head. It's not really um, it's not identifiable in the same way as a voice is identifiable. It just is. It's a body sensation with some sort of a.
Like a telecommunication?
It's like a telepathic communication. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
telepathic communication.
Okay.
And basically, what animals tell you is what they're feeling, or yes or no. So,
Mhm.
what their state of mind is, just as we have states of mind, we express it through verbal stuff. But animals have states of mind, emotional states of mind that they can express to us, and they can tell us that in the moment. And animals merge with us. They are great mergers. So their energy merges with ours. So if we are focused on, the whales and the sea and the ocean, we have this great experience when we come into the ocean, or whales that are in the air that come
Right.
through, and they come through us because we have a focus and a connection to them, either through a past life or a present life or even a future life sometimes.
I
So
need to do a television special with you because we need an hour and a half for you because I can't believe we have 3 minutes left. On the screen is JV dot small shifts big changes, BG changes, which stands for big changes.com. As I click through the three connectors we have for folks to continue the dialogue with you, can you explain what each one of them stands for and what the people will find when they click over? What's this first one?
So that is right now. I am in the process of creating a launch of a new product I call quantum neurogenesis. Quantum being, the field of all possibilities. That is this. That is the behavior of spirit. Neuro being of the mind, meaning the neurons and the neurology, the study of the brain, and genesis, the beginning. So creating new neural pathways in the quantum, from the quantum field and in the quantum field. As we come into that, what happens is part of the ways that we synergize, where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, is that we unify and we harmonize the two hemispheres of the brain. So we have the hemispheres of the brain, each being a different process of our life experience. The right brain is the intuitive brain that has to do with artistic and intuition and connection and love and spirit and autobiographical stuff. The left brain is the logical portion that has to do with language and linguistics and analysis and things of that nature. You're Everybody moves through one side or the other as dominant. But when you come into an experience of neurogenesis, what happens is that you harmonize the two experiences of logic and intuition in a single synergy where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And so you come into this awakening experience. So I have
Okay, and you guys, your term papers are due next week. What about the master class? What's that all about?
So I have a free master class that I'll be teaching on September the 23rd. You can sign up for it, register for it at this link. The JV thing is I'm looking for partners, joint venture partners right now. We have a very generous program to help monetize other people's experience and connect with us and go forward. The master class is the first part of the funnel where I teach people quantum neurogenesis. I teach them to harmonize the two hemispheres of their brain so that they have an experience, a shift into a much higher consciousness experience. Their body viscerally can feel this new experience or new energy. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, the third thing on there is a video by a man by the name of Darius Barzande. Maybe some of you have heard of him. He's a particularly strong force in the internet world, in the healing world. And he and I did a program about a couple of years back, basically, in which we set a record for sales in 1 hour. So we set a record for sales on the
YouTube?
that's a YouTube.
Okay, I've just dropped the YouTube link inside the chat for you guys so you can catch those videos.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to drop both of the, well, thank you, Sherry. Sherry's already done it. Oh, Sherry on the spot. Thank you, Sherry. She's also dropped Harrison's other two connectors inside of the chat. Unfortunately, time has come to a close for today's installment of Bathrobe Moments, but I really recommend all of you. I know I'm telling you, it flies by. I want you guys to get over and continue this conversation. Follow Harrison every place that you can, IG, Instagram, Twitter, any place that you can find him. I highly recommend you connect. Harrison KLEIN, always, 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 such a pleasure, such an honor. I walk away, I don't care if it's just a text message thing we're doing. I always feel I'm walking away with just so much value. You just are the guru of value, in my opinion, and I couldn't be happier that you were here today to pour into us. You guys, don't cheat yourself. Treat yourself, and treat yourself well. Get over and check out all things Harrison KLEIN. Harrison, did you have anything you wanted to say as a final thought before we get out of here?
You are a magical being, Lauren, and I love being with you, and I love having this conversation with you. Every time I talk to you, I feel great. So it's always an uplifting experience. And, you know, for those people who follow you, man, it's amazing to be in your circle. So I really love that. So, yeah.
And it's not from all that food I devoured while I was watching. I felt like I was in the theater. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for being yourself. And I want to thank all of you. We couldn't have done it without you. Thank you for showing up today and helping to fulfill that promise that states that where two or more of us comes together, something wonderful is going to happen. Today, it did just that. Join me tomorrow morning, God willing, out front on the front porch for our next installment, where our three experts, Ask the Experts, they're all back after a whole month away to share some wonderful insight and all kinds of things. So be here if you can. If not, be here in prayer and in spirit, and we'll be right there for you. Get out in the world today and be that blessing you'd like to receive. I'll see you tomorrow for our next installment of Bathrobe Moments. Bye-bye. Thank you, Harrison. Carson's my PT. I got to go there now. I was already thinking I'm going to be late. He's going to give somebody my spot. Thank you, guys. I love you all. And Harrison, you are the diggity bomb. You're the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lauren. Looking for partners. Okay.
Absolutely. Get over it. Be a joint venture partner with Harrison. He's giving away luxury cars. Did that get your attention? That's right. I'll see you guys soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Beside